Whoa! That was like the smoothest we've ever come in ever. That was like, and then
My mic was muted.
All right, welcome to the Fifth Quarter Fantasy Cast. I'm your host, Coach B, and I'm joined by my sexy co-host, Dr. Dry, and get off my lawn, Peepaw. Yeah.
That's about to be a rager.
He's an angry man. His lawn has been watered, and the children are trompsing through it like it's just no tomorrow. So get ready for that later on in the podcast. Peepaw's angry, and he's ready to let you know about it. So, but it's so week three's in the book. How was y'all's fantasy week?
Next question, Doc. Let's say I underperformed by nearly 50% from the expected rate in one of my leagues. In a traditional PPR format, one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receiver, one flex, tight end, kicker, defense. Managed to score 63 points and still had 80% accuracy for my picks of the guys on my bench and the guys I started. So that's how my life's going. Aside from that league, that was about the lowest I've ever felt. Highest score was CJ Stroud in that week and with 13 points. So round of applause to my dudes. More to come on that later, but this is why I diversify between leagues if you have multiple leagues, because it sucks in one league, but you're not as hurt in the other leagues. I still got the chance to beat a couple guys. By a couple guys, I just mean one in my other league. And once again, I don't know if we're going to name names here tonight, but Coach might have been on the other end of that one. So that was one, and I did lose the other one, but beat the median, so it was salvaged in that league. So it was kind of mixture on all ends for me.
And Shane Vosberg likes boys, so anyway, Peepaw is his team puts the PP and PPR because he is pissed off. And I had about as average a weekend as you could have had, 3-3, just like last week. And I think I'm going to see a lot of that this year, being in 6 leagues. So I guess that's my reality now. So last year, my big claim to fame, and I was like, oh, we definitely need to do a podcast because I'm so good at fantasy now. And I started out, I think I started out amongst a few leagues like 23-1. Like I was on fire. Like I couldn't be touched. And that's, very, very pedestrian this year. So, and then comment section's lit tonight. So get for no reason. Just bringing it. But I mean, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So it's a very average week. Vince the Prince, how was yours?
1-1 this week. Had one team that was just like Peepaw's awful team, where like the bench, I played a perfect. I think I played a perfect game as far as who I put in, but I think we didn't get into 90, stayed in the 80s somewhere. So it was pretty pathetic. And then had the other league was fine, was good, kind of eked out a win, but yeah, it was just a weird week. Like I could tell by that first slate of games that we get to like halftime, and you were like, oh, this is going to be one of those weird weeks because like no one was scoring anywhere who was like starting. And I was like, oh, everyone's teams are sucking right now. And then there was a little bit of scoring by the second half of those first slate of games. But yeah, it was just a weird week. Hopefully, we just move on and move past it. But yeah.
And so you know how like you see the ticker come across the bottom of like the top performers for fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
the top 10 QBs were disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was baffled. Like I think I didn't even see a QB that I liked until like the 9th one. And those 10 QBs, those were like literally the bottom 10 or lower. And just dog shit guys you did not want on your team. But that's the kind of year it's been. I mean, you know, just one of those weeks. So
I mean,
that's
your
fun.
your top performers for this week: Josh Allen from last night, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold, Baker the Babymaker, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, Joe Burrow, and Brock Purdy. That's your top
It
10.
it was nastier in the
Yeah.
12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Like it was really gross
For that
looking.
first slate of games, it was
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah, I guess it got better later.
Yeah.
So
So that's the week that was. Oh, a little more love from.
something nice and personal.
Yeah, so real personal. I'm glad that I'm loved, but I'm also being compared to P. Diddy. So
That's a
Not
compliment.
where you
Sandy,
want to be.
they call that.
not good PR right now. If you're on P. Diddy's team. So,
Yeah.
but we got to give out some awards. So our award winners this week are Very Tech First. And so, awards preview. So we're going to start with the Hillshire Farm Holiday Cheese and Cracker Gift Basket of Disappointment Award. So, Pete, who you got for your award winner?
It's a little bit of an award for the middle ground as much as it is a bit worrisome. Going with the Miami Dolphins trio of Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, and Achane. Tua is the Dolphins' god. Like, put that man on a pedestal. We must protect him at all costs because he is the lifeblood of that team. Without Tua, we now know they suck. Um, I'm a bit worried to put any of these guys in my starting lineup, to be honest with you. Um, Tyreek had a total of 5 targets. Waddle had 5 targets. Achane also had 5 targets. 15 targets throughout the entire game for your top 3 performers is not going to get it done on a weekly basis on the field and in your fantasy roster. So a bit worrisome on that, but just very middling performances from all those guys. You just expected more, and um, for that reason, they are sitting on the Hillshire Farms trio. I mean, you could have one guy as a cracker, one is a meat, and the other guy is a cheese. I mean, they fit the box so well.
It's a terrible Lunchable.
Unless you get the pizza ones.
More like a lunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Because nobody's eating over there. Yeah, I have I'm gonna put Anthony Richardson on there. And he's probably S the B a couple times. He's just someone that, you take him with such high upside, but whenever we did that, we knew there was high risk, high reward. And we're seeing the risky part right now. So I know I started Derek Carr over him this week, and I don't think that panned out. So I mean, Anthony Richardson, I'm definitely worried about him. I think a lot of the concerns that, anyone skeptical might have had on him is true. I know I was out on him and then I was in on him, and like now I'm starting to think like maybe I should have stayed out on him. But just those things from college, like he never passed for a lot of yards. He wasn't a good college quarterback. He didn't win. All those things are kind of coming true. But he still has that wild upside. I think if there's a Monday night game and you're down by a lot and you have the choice between him and a safe quarterback, he's your guy. Just because he's got it in him, but it's looking a little more rare nowadays.
Yeah, I heard a good thing about Richardson today where they were saying basically because of all the upside, you would rather watch Richardson just rot on the bench than see him on someone else's lineup fulfilling that. And I was like, yeah, it's basically like a mental piece of mind benching. I'm just going to bench you because I don't want you to score somewhere else. So my Hillshire boy is Baker the Baby Maker. So not an S to B. It was an S to B type performance, but not an S to B award because we're still keeping Baker in our lineups moving forward. But it was worrying to see that offense grind to a halt. And hopefully, which could be something we talk about, but like Rashad White, Bucky Irving situation, Bucky injecting some energy. Also, Mike Evans was being blanketed by Pat Surtain. So hopefully they get back to their regular ways. But yeah, Baker the Baby Maker was he was contained with a condom this weekend, and no babies were made. And I know all about that. I'm an expert on that. So.
Yeah, and Rashad White, him too. Like definitely concerning that I think y'all have probably seen the stat. I don't bring stats to the table, but he's had like 31 carries but less yards than Bucky Irving, who had 25. And I remember what turned me off from Bucky Irving. It was that like slow ass 40 time that he had at the combine, and then I was like, nope, never drafting him. And turns out he could be Rashad the God this year if he keeps it up.
I mean, Rashad is a pass catcher. He's a better
Yeah.
pass catcher than a runner. So that's going to be what starts hurting him versus Bucky. But I'm so just itching to get going tonight. These awards are just cranking at me right now. So let's move on.
Okay, so our angriest award, the Sleep Number Shit the Bed Award, also abbreviated as S the B. So, and this the perennial S the B member. We had a perennial McMug last year, which was Rashad White, and
Not
so
this year.
yeah, and so I guess Arthur Smith, he was also a perennial Sleep Number member too. So.
Yeah, he's defending his title this year.
Yeah, so he's sticking with it this year, and so you'll see him in the bed a lot. And if you don't know who he is, he's the ugliest one on the screen. But yeah, so Peeps, who do you got for your S to B winners?
Now, people may not recognize the faces that are on the screen. I'm not talking about the one that's on the right side. I'm talking about the ones in the middle. The ones in the middle, the guy, that little statistician dude in the middle, he represents the football odds makers or the people who decide the over under for the games. Because let's just have a chat about why this went so bad. Because, hold on, let me pull up my stats here. Your stat dude at service. Of the over unders, 10, this is just from Sunday, so don't take it into effect for what happened last night. Just from Sunday and Thursday, 10 games hit the under, 4 games hit the over. Of the 10 games that hit the under, averaged off about 10 points, so just about a touchdown and a field goal off from what those games were supposed to hit. The big players that made up the under to drag that average off so significantly were the games that had a lot of fantasy implications. Lions Cardinals, 18.5 points off from what it was supposed to hit. Saints Eagles, 22 points off from what it was supposed to hit. And the Seahawks Dolphins, we obviously know Dolphins didn't put up any points in that game, so they were off by 14.5 points. We don't like that. Bad for fantasy, bad for everything. This leads to 63 points total. Not a fan. I would have put the the Vikings. Would have put the Vikings and Texans on this list as well, but the Vikings made up every single point for that game and got pretty dang close to the over under. So kudos to you guys. As far as the overs are concerned, Panthers and Raiders, 18 points over what they were supposed to hit. This don't make sense. Not at all. So it's not the fact of that they're off. It's the fact that you're giving false hopes of good, high scoring games with lots of fantasy implications to these people. And you just hurt us and break us down. It just doesn't feel very good. And a lot of these games are in that first round of slate. It just doesn't feel very good. So to all of you guys that come up with the over-unders, not a fan this week. Other one we got here, the little the ref reading the rule book here. That would be the refs from the Chiefs and Falcons game. Because before that game started, I said to myself, wonder what's going to happen with the Chiefs this game to somehow will go in their favor. It's like Kyle Pitts. The world is against Kyle Pitts.
Oh man.
He seems like a nice dude. Why do we got to treat him like this? That touchdown was meant for him or the running back or someone else on the team. But no, we couldn't have a pass interference that was like right in front of the man's face. Get out of the rule book and your eyes on the field, man. Pay attention to the game. Call the PIs where they deserve. That was a clear miss. You deserve a slot in the bed for this week for that performance. And kickers, they completely S the B this entire weekend. Like I couldn't tell what it was, but it seemed like there were misses left and right. So I got my complication list here of what happened this week. For this week for field goals, there were a total of 52 attempts, 39 completions, which equals a success rate of 75%. When you have one job, I expect you to be up in the 90%, not down near the C range. So that's a failing grade as far as I'm concerned. As far as the Pats were concerned, 95%, A plus on that. Will Lutz, you get the you deserve a McNug spot. You didn't get it this week, but you hit all them field goals and extra points. So round of applause to you this week. Comparison for the 75% field goals that were hit this week in week 2, we got 92%. Let's try a little hardy, boys.
It's good.
Don't ask for much, but let's try a little bit harder. So those are my 3 this week. I couldn't call it a single player. It was a smorgasbord to make this week go the way it did. So those are my guys.
I mean, whenever and I know why you're so, you're so passionate about kickers, and we know this about you, and it's even there every time you show up on screen. We put up those field goal posts, and it's they're not praise hands; they're represent the kickers. So yeah, rough week. I mean, get that man a nice warm glass of milk and rub his belly before bed and make him feel better. Yeah. That's right. Hey, he's drinking PBR. Did you put that in there?
No, that's what
Oh, that's awesome. He drank 3 PBRs.
That's the secret to youth for Clint.
Yeah, and it is PBR's 180th anniversary, 1844. So we're 20 years away from the bicentennial. And
Cheers to that.
yeah, cheers to Pabst Blue Ribbon, Boots Donnelly beefsteak. All right, I have one S the B member, and I am pissed off at him. Zamir White. I think he's droppable at this point. He's a starting running back in the NFL, and he's RB 49 for fantasy. That's the stat I'm gonna bring today. And he played against the Carolina Panthers. Everyone can run on them, and he only had a few more yards than I did. So Zamir White, he, like all that muscle for nothing. His picture, he kind of looked like Pierre. Oh, just bit my pants, Thomas from back in the day, but like a little more strong. He, as far as I'm concerned, like he's a drop. There's no reason to keep him. Alexander Madison, his backup, is a better running back than him. And who knows, maybe it'll be Dylan Labe season soon. But until then, he's going to be a healthy scratch.
So much potential for Zamir White too. Everyone was hyping him up over the summer, and nothing.
Yeah, he can go to hell.
Or your waiver wire.
So my sleep number winners is one no one really cares about, which is my entire fantasy junkies team. But going back and looking at it, it's like, well, these are good players. Just a terrible week. So I'm not too upset with them. And the future's
You're not
bright.
dropping all of them?
No, I mean, I'll probably drop Cam Akers because he was just like let's just see what happens. But you but the real SWB is Jalen Warren. I think it's going to be a tough season for him. I mean, looks like they both came out injured, and Najee came out with maybe the less serious injury, and Warren's getting the knee looked at. He was losing carries to Cordell Patterson. Thanks, Arthur Smith. Appreciate that. And so, ugh, so Jalen Warren, who we all I think want to succeed. We think he's more explosive and I think he's the future of Pittsburgh. I hope, but right now they're still in love with Najee, and Cordell Patterson's making things weird, and Jalen Warren might be more seriously injured depending on MRI results and stuff. So maybe you're dropping Jalen Warren. We got bye weeks starting up in a couple weeks. He might be a drop Jalen Warren for someone else who's a little more on the upswing because he's definitely either flat or even kind of heading down right now. So that's my S to B.
And to bring up Peepaw's point about Kyle Pitts, anytime you watch a primetime game that Kyle Pitts is in, you'll see he's cursed. He's the most cursed man in the NFL, whether it be horrible quarterback play, them just not seeing him, tackled at the one, missed PI. So I thought of a really cool game. Next time the Falcons have a primetime matchup and Kyle Pitts is playing, we could make bingo cards and have all those bad things that could happen, and I bet all of us hit a bingo. So I think that's a good idea for the Falcons' next primetime game, and that's doctor's order.
All right. Kyle Pitts, unfortunate series of events bingo. That will be a little worksheet we'll make up and get out there. So that's doctor's orders to play bingo with us. Well, that's kind of a Peepaw thing to do, play bingo. So.
It'll be hitting the shelves soon.
Bingo! Our last award, we're going to pick ourselves up. Peepaw's going to tell kids to come onto the lawn because he's going to feel happier. We're going to talk about our McNugs. Who are the 11th McNuggets in your box of McNugs, Peepaw?
I just want to be known I had none of these guys if it wasn't already obvious.
Wow.
But I've got on my list this week, we're looking at Malik Neighbors. I believe this is week number 2 in a row for him. The dude is a superstar. I don't know other way to put it. I was wrong from the beginning. I thought that the offense you're in, he ain't got no chance for a quarterback like Daniel Jones, and potential wasn't there. But the dude is just an absolute unit and a tank of all people. So bow down to whatever he is doing because it's working for you. So racking up them touchdowns, racking up them yards, hyper targeted in that offense. So if you got him, kudos to you. Good job. Also got Jawan Jennings. I don't know what else to say about him. Wide receiver 1 on the week, obviously. 175 yards, 11 receptions, 3 touchdowns. One of my favorite celebration moves, if you will, is when he caught that insane ball, mossed the dude from behind him, and brought it back through the guy's arm to receive it. And he camera panned him right after, and just was like looking at his hands, like, "What are these made of? I got this in me." I'm like, this dude's fantastic. So, honorable mention for Jaden Daniels from last night. Everything was on point. It had only 2 drop passes or missed passes. Some over 90% completion rate. He was getting it done all over the field, left and right, and dropping dimes. Dude is looking fantastic. So, kudos to him. And another guy that the producers tell me we don't have enough room in the Nug box, so Derrick Henry had to slide on his way out. He may not know how the rules work for these Happy Meals, but it's how it works, man. I'm sorry, Derek. Better luck next week.
He's a king. He deserves a big meal. So
he's over at Burger King.
Yeah, he's at Burger King having it his way.
And he's not a pleasant surprise. Like he you're not surprised when the king does his thing.
Yeah. That's
Also,
like
Saquon, if I could add as well, he like deserves a permanent spot in here. Yeah, he just deserves a permanent spot in this Nug box until further notice.
he's carrying fantasy teams too. Like that's like if we were to redraft right now, like he would go very much near the top. He's an early first. Um, Malik Neighbors, gotta brag on him because I've been on him for a while, and I'll say his pronouns are him, him, and him because he's him, and I could never put him on this because I'm never surprised at what I knew he could do the whole time, and I'm glad that he's like starting to just like show people who he is. And but yeah, Malik Neighbors, if you look now, wide receiver 1 overall. And that's exceeding the expectations I had. I thought he'd finish like wide receiver 8 to 10 or something like that, and still a lot of year left, but really cool to see him at wide receiver 1. Really wished I was able to get him in more spots. Um, Neighbors is better than MHJ, fact. And MHJ's good. I think he's got he's going to be a very good in this league. I think Neighbors is a little better. And I like that you've showed some love to Daniel Jones too, dropping those dimes to Malik Neighbors. I don't know, it looked like he was on drugs at the beginning of the year and not gonna even like keep his job. So there's that. Jawan Jennings, I think that's one that like all three of us like we didn't even have to come out and say it, like we all wanted him on there. I love his cheese ball haircut at the top. I think that's really nice. But yeah, he literally almost put up like his team name in points. He almost had 49. He had 46 and a half. Zach Charbonnet, just taking that opportunity. Kenneth Walker is still, Kenneth Walker. So when he comes back, but like Charbonnet, he didn't show this side of him last year whenever he had those opportunities. So really cool to see him shining this year. And then we had Donkey Teeth, Dallas Goddard, 170 yards out of nowhere. But yeah, once again, just like who else are they going to throw to? Devontae Smith went down, rest in peace, and AJ Brown is still in the hospital recovering. And so, Donkey Teeth, he's like, throw it to me. And and Jalen Hurts was like, well, okay, and but yeah, and then there's one more fella that I think a lot of people in Northeast Ohio are gonna respect that is on this list. So Coach V, who's that?
Yeah, purely just because I know my audience and I try to keep people happy. I put Amari Cooper on the list. I think there was a lot of doubt around Amari Cooper and um, his rapport with Deshaun Watson. Maybe he told Deshaun, "Hey, I don't like those things you do," and Deshaun was like, "All right, no ball for you, buddy." But then Deshaun invited him out to the spa, and Amari was like, "This isn't half bad. I see why you're into this sort of thing." And you saw what happened on the field this week. He played it up. It went well. So yeah, definitely a pleasant surprise for a lot of fantasy owners who are probably freaking out about Amari Cooper. Um, who's to say he's going to have a lot of games like this? This is definitely like maybe a more peak game. But if he can level out somewhere, he can start to play to his level where he was drafted. Because right now, him and like every receiver you own are all like underplaying. I mean, it seems like every position is playing underneath their value right now. And then you got guys who are like overperforming. So, but yeah, those are our McNugs. Ba da ba ba ba.
McDonald.
For what it's worth, also, I don't know if I would start Charbonnet for Charbonnet owner or picked him up off the waiver wire this week. They got the Lions, who just got done playing the Cardinals and brought James Conner back down to earth with his totals. So pretty good rush defense there. So I don't know if I'd be reaching out to start him unless you have no other options on that. But really, everyone else on this list, with maybe the exception of Daniel Jones, go out there and start him this week. Donkey Teeth. Really, who else they have to throw to? probably not a bad start again for
He's
this week. So,
the only good tight end in the league right now.
and yes, it's a hurting at the tight end position. So,
More
probably
like
won't be a bad idea.
a loose end. But
All right.
yeah, also I just wanted to say, kind of like being through 3 weeks now, Rasheed Rice, like man, that guy, that's a league winner. That's one where if you weren't afraid of the possible suspension, that is paying off. And because you probably got him in fourth, fifth, sixth round somewhere in there. And I think he's wide receiver 2 right now, and it looks like I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to be Mahomes' guy, and Travis Kelsey's kind of fading. I think Rasheed Rice is here to stay all year, and I think he's got a lot more, to offer for us.
So
I don't
before
have
we
him
get
anywhere.
into week 4 preview, are there any waivers that we need to waiver ads we need to discuss? Important folks to pick up tonight.
Yeah, I got a couple on this list. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but the guys I've listed in the past couple weeks have hit the week after, so or have done halfway decent. So
DeJuan Jennings.
take
That
that
was
for what's like. Did call him last week, and he makes another reappearance this week because people were a little bit terrified, I guess, to pick him up. But until you get this roster built back up, I don't see why you can't play him. Debo's out, Kittle's out. You need to throw a ball somewhere. So forget McCaffrey's out still. Also, um, they got to throw the ball. It's going to be probably Juwan Jennings is probably going to be your wide receiver 1. I mean, Ayuk looks like he's still got a little bit of rust on him. So if he's available, pick him up. Braylon Allen's another guy, maybe stash still. Had him on the list last week. Still about 46% rostered right now. So I'll take a look at him just for holding purposes. He looks really good when he's in the games behind Brees Hall. Also, Darnell Mooney makes it to the list if he's not taken yet in one year. He's taken in pretty much all my leagues, but Darnell Mooney looks like a favorite target for Kirk Cousins. So someone that's behind Drake London. We know what's happening to Kyle Pitts. Bad stuff. So when bad stuff inevitably happens to Kyle Pitts, where's he go? Darnell Mooney. So take a look at those guys and hopefully they hit for you.
Yeah, a couple guys to add to the list. And a lot of times, like your waiver wire, like you know, you can always get Juwan Jennings who scores 46.5, but usually like you're cool with like 10 to 15 from like that waiver wire pickup that you have to throw in. You have your main guys who you expect big things from, but if you need a good 10 points, look at Wandale Robinson and look at Jalen Naylor. Wandale Robinson, high promise a couple years ago going to the Giants. Malik Neighbors has a lot of attention on him. It doesn't matter though, but whenever he is doubled or not open, even though he's always open, Wandale Robinson is there, and he'll get you those 10 points. Five for 50, or and if he sprinkles in a little touchdown on that, you're pretty happy. Jalen Naylor, it's looking like that's Sammy D's second favorite target there, especially with Jordan Addison out. Maybe monitor if Jordan Addison comes back, Naylor obviously is going to take a back seat. Um, and then another thing I wanted to kind of point out is just something that I think we freak out too much about, and we'll probably freak out every year until um, you know, basically whenever there's a system, right, that has a good coaching staff and comparable play. Example, Jordan Mason was able to just fill in, and like he didn't have a terrific week this week because Jennings was going off, but able to fill in for CMC when he went down because it's a great running scheme over there. I think the Vikings are kind of the same way with passing. Everyone was worried about Justin Jefferson, and he's looking like one of the very few true number one first round picks. And people were able to get him at like seventh or eighth because they were afraid of the QB play, but there's a good system intact. And that's Sam Darnold, like we thought he was a butt cheese boy, but turns out he was just with the butt cheese Jets. and so he's in a good system right now with Kevin O'Connell. You trust that system. Sammy D, another good ad, I think. But we were chasing Derek Carr last week, and he reminded us he was Derek Carr, and I think he got a lot of people. And if I'm correct in my thinking, if you picked up Derek Carr, you were looking at Derek Carr, Sam Darnold, and kind of weighing that out, and you went the Carr route, and Sam Darnold, they
he's
love
nothing
him.
more than a common butt cheese boy.
That's right. Derek Carr needs to just get in his car and drive away. Derek crashed the car. And so Sammy D, look at him. And those are the ones that I have.
Nice. Yeah. We might be looking at Tyler Huntley with the Dolphins. Everyone loved him with Baltimore. A lot of potential there. Dolphins, powerful offense. What I'd like to see is could the Dolphins kind of scheme him up like Malik Willis has been schemed in Green Bay to be successful. I think that would be neat, but we'll see what happens there. And then also Denver is making maybe a running back change, and so what's his first name? Tyler. And I learned today that it's not Tyler Batty. He wants it pronounced bidet, like the ass cleaning device. So just for fun, have a guy named bidet.
It's like Achan, because that's really how it's pronounced, right?
What's that?
I will say, I do believe I saw before we came on here tonight that Bidet was pulled down to. He was put down onto the practice squad. So I don't know what that's about, but they got a lot of running back situations to figure out there in Denver.
Strange. But maybe it's because the whole bidet thing. They didn't want to have a guy named Bidet.
They got embarrassed.
Clean your cheese off with your. Well, before we do preview, we have a sponsor. It's a near and dear sponsor, one that people have loved for a long time. And so, yeah, a little word.
Stay tuned for this message from Duke's Mayonnaise. Hey, Robert! Yeah, Ted? Wanna hear a joke? Yeah. Knock, knock. Who's there? Hellman's. Hellman's who? Hell, man, if it ain't Duke's, I don't want it.
All right. Thanks, guys. Always good for a laugh.
Rob and Ted.
An extended laugh from Robert and Ted there. But, yeah, we always appreciate that. So, week 4 preview. Time to preview a few games. First game up on our list here is the 1-2 Cowboys and the 1-2 Giants. Is this really? Oh, this is a Thursday night game. Okay. All right. There you go. So Thursday night matchup between, man, the Cowboys are just really struggling everywhere. There's no running game to speak of. CD looks off. Just things look off. It's almost like without the threat of someone to run the ball that people have figured out. They've cracked the code on the passing game or something. Versus the Giants, who Daniel Jones is ascending. I don't know, or at least Malik is ascending. So, what fantasy implications do y'all see from this matchup?
The Cowboys are struggling, to say the least. Really, we're wondering how do you get away with only CD as your real threat as wide receiver. I saw there's a little bit of heated debate between him and Dak on the sidelines at some point during the game. So hopefully we'll get that sorted out here this week. And I know Dak still put up some pretty big numbers this past week for his performance, but not what you were expecting to get out of a guy you probably took in the top 3 with your draft picks this year with CeeDee Lamb. So maybe get that figured out. But running back room is a little bit messy as well. Rico Dowdle looks like he's probably taken over from Zeke, which it's about time that happened. Zeke is slow and has lost it. So he's that guy that left, didn't realize what he had in Dallas. He's like, please, sir, bring me back. And they brought him back, and they said, by default, we now have to start you. So he was started, and they've fulfilled their need for that. So that's out of the way now, and Rico Dowell can kick him out and take that start running back room. So he's another dude. Didn't mention if he's on the waivers. Take a look at that guy as well. So pretty cut and dry on the Cowboys side. Giants neighbors, and really, I don't know if you're starting anyone else from that game, but I like how frisky and fun they played this past weekend. So maybe continue that against the Cowboys and keep the ball rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had more Malik neighbors. Please, I want some more. And yeah, but I only have one share of him in 6 leagues. I was ready to take him like 2 rounds early, but there was someone a little crazier than me in a couple leagues. Some call him Superfan Matt, some just call him Matt. But yeah, I mean, I think nail on the head there. I don't think anyone's excited about the Giants' run game. If you need 10 points, get Wan'Dale Robinson. I think, and the Cowboys their defense hasn't really stopped anybody. So I'm like oddly not worried about the defense slowing down neighbors. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. You'd like to see like a second receiver or something come out of Dallas. One thing to point out, Turd Ferguson had a good game. So pick up Turd Ferguson if you need a tight end. That could be a sneaky good play actually. Going against the Giants, their defense isn't shit, so like that might be a good tight end play. Whenever you really think about it and put your mind to it, you could play tight end Thursday night. That's what I got.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is maybe Jalen Tolbert is someone to look at. He's gotten some PPR points, and I think he's had a few scores. So Dak is looking his way a little bit. He's super out there on waivers if someone wanted him. But I think Neighbors is kind of like a Jefferson. He's quarterback proof. A good receiver can make it on a bad team because bad teams are going to play behind as long as they're a good receiver. Because the Giants really didn't have a good receiver last year. They played from behind like crazy. But if the Giants had a Neighbors last year, that receiver probably would have went off because the Giants threw the ball constantly. Instead, Saquon got all those throws, and now those throws are actually being taken downfield to a legit wide receiver one. So yeah, Singletary got a score, I think, this week, but I don't even starting Singletary. Not yet.
I think if you are desperate at running back or a low end flex, I would do it.
Yeah. Well, that's true because everyone has run on the Cowboys all 3 weeks. The Cowboys have been running on them. So Singletary could be a good play because I don't think the Cowboys can stop the run. I think their D line is like set up for pass rush, and so you can run on them. I mean, we saw King Henry run on them, which it's King Henry, but which was fantastic.
Word to the wise. So also I like that you mentioned Singletary as a flex play. Yes, he may be your flex play, but it's Thursday night. Put him in at running back. That way, if you have any sort of injuries pop up, you can use that flex spot, and you're not in a weird like Vinny was in that situation when CMC didn't play, but he was able to pivot to 3 different positions because he had that flex spot because he didn't use it up on Thursday night. So even if he's your third best running back and you're starting him, like go ahead and put him in that RB slot.
Love it.
Great.
So number 2, our second preview is of the weirdly 0-3 Bengals versus the 1-2 Panthers. The Bengals, you really kind of feel for them because I mean they left it all on the field last night. They're starting to like come together, but they've dug such a hole already that it could be difficult for them to be. They'll be fantasy relevant, which is what all this podcast is about. So We're not too worried about them winning football games, but still, it does suck for them. And if they're sad, they may not play that much football. And then the Panthers, what do we do with the Panthers? Like Andy Dalton is resurging the entire team and like resuscitating the value of all these shitty players. So
I like it.
I don't know. I think we might need. For me personally, I'll just comment first. I think we need a few more data points on Andy Dalton before I'm like ready to start all your Panthers receivers or anything like that. But still, it's nice to see there being some fantasy value there.
I will say probably the only caution I may have with if the Bengals do keep losing is what do they do with their star guys? Are you still willing to throw them out there every week? Do you get less playing time because of it? Because if you're not playing for anything in the season, what's really matter if the guy gets some more starts? So something to pay attention to. They got a rough couple games coming up. I believe, obviously, we got the Panthers this week, and they've got the Ravens and the Browns coming up. So there's a possibility they go 0-6 or 1-5. So just be on the lookout for that. But I just think this is going to be a frisky, fun game based on the way the guys have played this past weekend. We saw what the Panthers did. The Red Rifle or Red Rocket, whatever they call him, he was lighting it up. So
Red Rocket.
He was lighting it up, and I still don't think this revives Miles Sanders' stock, but Deontay Johnson probably revives his career with this move. Leggett, I'm still not playing him, but I would definitely look at this game as a gauge to see how much of a favorite of a target he is for Dalton. And Jonathan Mingo obviously didn't do anything last year, but still looking at him as a potential what can you do guy. So a lot of potential for this game. I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah. The Panthers get to 2-2. One guy that if you drafted him and stashed him on your IR, that should be coming back soon, Jonathan Brooks. He's coming into more of a hey, we're competing for playoffs. And he's someone who's exciting. That Texas produces some good running backs. He was kind of the tops in this class, and you wanted him to go to Dallas, and unfortunately, he went to Carolina. So, we'll at least see what he has, here soon in the next couple weeks, hopefully. And you want him to be going into a good situation. I'm excited that Andy Dalton's the quarterback. I know it was just one game, but I think it's good for Deontay Johnson. I'm probably not touching anyone else on the team. No homo, but Deontay Johnson, like that was cool. Like, and he's allergic to the end zone. It was cool for him to get that carry, got a real touchdown. Bengals, I do agree with, that the statement of like, hey, what do you do with your stars? Like, Jamar Chase wants to get paid. He's already got that insurance policy. Like, every time points to if they're not competitive, he's not going to be competitive. And it's a damn shame, especially with like real important stuff in the world like fantasy playoffs and the implications for us, the managers who would pay him the money if we had it. And another thing, like T Higgins injured ass, like he finally played. I think that took some. One thing, like T Higgins, like I don't know, I've been out on him since I heard his name, but I just don't believe in him. But I think he is pretty vital to Jamar Chase being freed up, and I think he commands attention at least. And I think that gives Jamar Chase a little more freedom to do what he needs to do. So anyway, it was cool to see the Bengals produce, and I think you know what? I think we're gonna see a Andy Dalton revenge game shootout with Joe Burrow. Hopefully, both teams combine for 100. We'll see.
That makes a lot of people happy.
Weirder things have happened this season.
All right, so our third game is Vikings at the Packers. It's a noonday Sunday kickoff. And so this one, I think everyone's paying attention to this game. It's just two teams that have looked really good. Vikings are looking great with Sam Darnold. And Is Addison back this week?
I think it's still up for debate.
Okay, so maybe this week, maybe the week after. So that'll give us an idea of how that's going to shake out. Is he going to be worth it? Is he going to be rusty? Is Naylor going to lose value? Also, I mean, Hawkinson is waiting in the wings. This team is only going to get better as they get all their stuff together. So really interesting team to watch. We're going against the Packers, who started off hot. Seemed like Love was close to playing this week, and they didn't let him. So maybe we get Love this week. But they've also schemed up a nice offense with Malik Willis and work. But it was against the Titans, and so yeah, there you go. So I'm thinking. I forgot about who's that. Who's the Packers running back? Emmanuel. Or something
Oh,
like that?
yep.
That's a waiver ad this week that people might want to get into if they're into that sort of thing, if you will. And so,
Parsay.
yeah, I mean, if Josh Jacobs goes down, he has value. If Josh Jacobs gets tired, he has value. So yeah, this will be a fun game to watch, and then obviously a lot of fantasy.
The only caveat I can see to Emmanuel, whatever his other name is, first or last, don't know, is the other rookie that's on that team in the running back room. I believe Doc, you might have a share or two of him.
Marshawn Lloyd.
Yes, coming back from injury. So
Yeah.
pay attention to that, see how that pans out. But I like this matchup being a divisional game. The only thing I'm wondering here, Packers are 2-1. Malik has won 2. Love has lost 1. Is Malik better than Love? Just putting it out there. I don't think so. We're just putting it out there for giggles. So I think once Jordan Love comes back, I hope he comes back this week because that'll bring relevance back to the wide receiver room, which I'm craving for some more of. So
Yeah.
I hope Jordan Love's back, and I feel more confident in starting Jaden Reed and potentially in the deeper league some of their other 2 or 3 wide receivers they got on that squad. So it should be an exciting game, though.
Yeah, yeah. I hope Love comes back. I've had to start the likes of Derek Carr on his bad week, and some other guys, considering Andy Dalton, and it's it's not good. He needs to come back. I have him in a couple leagues, so um, I think big revenge game for Aaron Jones coming in. I rarely toot his horn, but per se. But yeah, I mean the Vikings, like, I can't remember, did Justin Jefferson ever, like, has he had a good game against the Packers since a couple years ago when he got shut down by Alexander?
Uh, keep talking. I got you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was hoping someone else would do the research and I could just take some of the credit. So yeah, I mean, I know it was like championship week, and he just like got shut down. He had like 3 points. I remember it vividly because I was against Mike Evans, who scored 50 points, and he had like 50 points all year, and he like doubled his output in 1 week. And but yeah, Jefferson with just like 3 fantasy points a couple years ago. Alexander was shadowing him. So what I'm getting at is it could be a wild Jalen Naylor game if you're into that sort of thing. So
I got you. So the week 1 in 2022, week 1 in 2022, he had almost 40 points against them. Since then, he has not gotten more than 11.
yeah. So bench Justin Jefferson. No, you're not doing it. But like I don't know if you do, like you've got some balls. But you also might be just a crazy person because he's been awesome. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they scheme to get him off of Alexander, move him around. Maybe they're starting to see that trend. I don't know, but could be a big Jalen Naylor game if you're in a spot where you really need that. Just that receiver, and say you've got some injuries that you're dealing with. Maybe you're an AJ Brown owner, and amongst other people, and You just need that receiver, and you're extremely poor. Jalen Naylor could like really go off. He won't go off like Jawan Jennings, but he could sneak a touchdown or two in there.
Yeah, I think patience with the Packers receivers is what people are going to have. Like, no one's really shook out to be anything yet, and maybe at the end of the year where like they're all just kind of maybe whatever, maybe playing, maybe don't. But hopefully, someone will kind of rise to the top with that receiver room. Because I feel like if you took a handful of guys who are playing fantasy football, someone's got a piece of Wicks or Dobbs or Watson or Reed, and they're all just like, I can't get rid of them, but nothing's happening. It's completely unpredictable. Hopefully, when Love gets in there and plays a handful of games, we can start to sort that out. Because like, I'm a Wicks guy, so I got all these Wicks shares sitting around and don't know what to do with them. But I'm not going to get rid of them. So hopefully we get some clarity on the Packers as soon as Love starts playing.
Yeah, and like, man, I almost just like burnt all my Titan shit this weekend. Like the fact that they just got dominated by a guy who couldn't pass for more than 50 yards when he was on our team. Like what a poverty franchise.
Yeah,
It
it says a
it
lot
was
about us.
disgusting. And we made so many off-season moves that just looked right. They looked like such good moves, and we've never looked worse as a team. So anyway, and I drank that Levis latte, and I said it was okay, but it sucked. It wasn't very good at all. So I mean, yeah, the Titans. Like I could care less if they win any games this year. At this point, let's get a high draft pick. I'm already giving up.
Week 4, Dr. Guy's out.
No, I don't believe.
Maybe they should call up Marcus Mariota. I know a guy who's really into Marcus Mariota. So.
Even better, Ryan Tannehill.
Oh,
He's still
Why
sitting out
not?
there.
he's out there.
Why not?
So last matchup is Bills and Ravens. So this is your Sunday night matchup. Really fun matchup. The Ravens are coming off of a terrific game, just dominated the Cowboys in all facets of the game. Bills are just really rolling. We finally saw the Bills throw the ball around last night. And oh wow, look, they can still do that when they want to. Freaking Peeps with his Khalil Shakir, almost 20 points, 1 point PPR. I mean, I was going
It's
either way,
good.
still.
Mouse.
Just rubbing it in. Dalton Kincaid gets a touchdown. I feel like that was just like a shut you up touchdown, just to like make you confused even more touchdown. But hopefully there's a trend there. So I don't know. Maybe the game plan. What do y'all think? Do you think the game plan called to throw the ball around, or are they trying to throw the ball?
I think Josh Allen has Oprah Winfrey on speed dial, and he's like, "How'd you do that thing where it's like you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown? I want to do that," and he did that. So there was some talk pregame, and they figured it out how to do that because they just spread the love. Everyone got their touchdowns last night. All was right in Buffalo. Um, I I don't know what the MO was, but it was obviously to destroy the living snot out of the Jags, and they took care of business pretty quick. So um, I don't know what their game plan was, but they did it right. So um, as far as this game, upcoming game is concerned, Bills got it rolling. They're good on defense and offense, and Ravens have shown a little bit of weakness, obviously, but two high-powered offenses. I hope my over/under sport better people out there that bet the over and under. If it goes anything like it did last week, you should bet the under on this game. But hope it's a high-scoring game and we get a lot of fantasy production out of it.
Peepaw, are you spending your Social Security check on betting?
Oh no, that's just my Medicare.
And to
Your
all our
Medicare
old
Advantage?
people listening, make sure you spend your Social Security over at Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use the code Fifth Quarter Fantasy, and they will match your deposit up to $100. So spend that
Oh.
Social Security check, go over to Underdog Fantasy, bet your life savings. You won't regret it. Oh,
Yeah.
and also the Bills are playing the Ravens. So so the Bills, all was right in Buffalo. That was really cool. I'm out on Keon Coleman. Like once I put someone on the S to B, like I've probably dropped them, or I'm waiting on they're not playing like for a very long time. Like I'm looking to drop them. But I thought he got lucky with a touchdown. Still not very involved. Dalton Kincaid, that was awesome. I do hope that passing offense is back, because it's way more fun to watch than watching Dalvin Cook's brother run the ball. And it just I don't know, it feels right. Like Josh Allen should be able to be allowed to sling that thing around. And so I think the Bills roll in this one. I think the Ravens showed a lot of I don't know, just like not much ability to finish. The Cowboys almost came back and won. And they kind of take their foot off the gas. Their receiving core is not very good. I think the Bills they're starting to click and roll on all cylinders, and make sure you bet the over on any underdog site. Spend that Social Security check.
Okay, so that's your Week 4 preview. Superfan Matt's still not sold on Keon Coleman. Doesn't believe in the lucky touchdown. So, but yeah, so we'll be back next week. Awards, anger from Peepaw. He's going to be out watering his lawn all week. And you can just trample it if you want.
I'll be out milking the cows. Also get that warm milk for the evening.
If an angry Peepaw's like, get off my lawn, what's a happy Peepaw? Like,
Well,
come
he's
get
sitting
here's a
in his recliner with his little slippers on, and he's doing the crossword puzzle or Sudoku with the evening news on. He's happy as a clam, man.
Wow.
Boy, I like that.
There you go. All right, so Doc, what are the 5 things to close us out?
All right. Make sure that you always wear your mask. Stay 6 feet away from everyone, only vertically. Doesn't matter if it's horizontal in the grocery store. Also, make sure that you get your COVID-19 vaccination, get the booster, and always listen to your government. 5th Quarter Fantasy Cast. But really, live, laugh, love, like, subscribe. 5th Quarter Fantasy Cast.
Hey.
Space beneath